So, you might be wondering how to smoothen out your vocal break so that you can sing freely without having to spend hours and hours of practice and singing the same scales over and over again. Well, in this video, I've got you covered with a very specific vocal technique so that you can avoid that vocal break or feeling of tension when singing the high notes. Hi, my name is Maggie. I'm the founder of the Singing Insiders, and I'm helping passionate singers just like yourself become the best versions of themselves through singing. And in these episodes, you're going to get practical tools, techniques, and exercises and insights to help you up-level your singing skills. So let's take a look at what it actually takes to smoothen out your vocal break and sing freely. Now, in order to truly get this, you need to understand some common mistakes that beginner singers tend to make. And that's, first of all, many beginner singers, they tend to push their voice when they're gonna sing a little bit higher. So the higher they go, the more tension or straining they tend to put on their voice. And that's because many beginner singers tend to sing in one particular register, and I'm gonna touch on that a little bit later in this video as well, because we have different registers when we're singing, and oftentimes if you're feeling that vocal break when singing, that's because you're staying in one particular register. So what they then do, these beginner singers, they tend to stay away from that break. And I know I used to do the same thing. I used to sing songs that I could only sing in chest voice, and I refused to go up to the head voice area because I wanted to avoid that vocal break. And I had the belief, and many beginner singers do too, that your voice is just your voice, and that those high notes were not meant for me. But obviously I've learned otherwise. So once you're aware of these problems or mistakes that many beginner singers make, and you might recognize yourself in one of those, then we can start shifting that. And that brings us into the world of the trained singer. And that's where I want to get you. Because trained singers, well, they know that the magic is in combining different vocal registers together and really training the smooth transition in between those registers. That is what's going to allow you to smoothen out that vocal break. And trained singers, they're not avoiding the break. They're actually singing as much as they can in that vocal break so that they can smoothen it out even more. And so trained singers, they know that this is a matter of practice. It's not a matter of talent, it's a matter of practice. So here's what you need to do. So first of all, it's important for you to understand and hear and feel the difference between your different registers. One of them being chest voice and the other one being head voice. So give me a warm, low note that feels comfortable for you. You can take my pitch or you can take whatever pitch works for you, but give me a long Can you do that for me, please? That is your chest voice. Now, some people, they feel it in their chest, they feel it vibrate in their chest. Others feel it vibrate in their throats. Others feel it vibrate in their belly. Like whatever fits you, I want you to hold on to that feeling of, okay, this is chest voice. Now, give me a higher pitch, whatever feels comfortable for you, and give me a yoo-hoo. Now that feels different, right? Yoo-hoo feels very different. That is your head voice. So it's important, the first step in this whole process is to feel and hear the difference in your voice. Now, there might be an imbalance there. It might be that your head voice doesn't sound how you want it to sound yet. Maybe it's a bit shaky, maybe it's a bit breathy, maybe it's just air. I worked with some singers where there was just air coming through. That's totally fine. We're gonna work on that. Really, the magic in order order to pass that vocal break is to have those two registers work together. So you need to understand when you're singing in chest voice, there is a specific muscle that will activate your vocal cords. I call that the chest voice muscle. And when you're singing in head voice, there's an other specific muscle that will activate your vocal cords. I call that one the head voice muscle. And when you're combining those two, that's where the magic happens. That's when you're mixing those two worlds together. And that's the activation of mixed voice, which will allow you to sing through the break super smoothly. And we're going to practice that. Now, if you have found this information helpful so far, this idea of combining the head voice and the chest voice to smoothen out that vocal break, hit like and subscribe for more singing tools coming up. But if you're still with me throughout this whole process of activating the mixed voice to sing those high notes freely, my best tip is coming up. So keep watching and let's bring this all home. Let's finish this, because how do you put this into practice? That's really the question, right? So we're going to sing a song that maybe you know. I chose a pretty famous one, Take On Me by a-ha, just so we can demonstrate that and so you can put into practice what we've just talked about in the theory portion of this video. So it goes like this. We're gonna do Take on me, take me on, I'll be gone in a day or two. Part of the song that we're going to be working with, and I on purpose chose that part because we have a beautiful connection throughout that vocal break, or passaggio that some people might call it. So the first step is that you can sing along with me. Now, does it have to sound pretty? No. Do you need to have that break smoothen out? No. Like, the first step is just that you understand where the melody is going, how the rhythm is going, that you can just sing along so that we can practice this together. So if you don't know this song, my biggest invitation to you would be to rewind this video a couple of seconds and learn the melody. Now, once you have that, I'm going to assume that you've done that. Let's try and sing this together. Now, I want you to notice where it might become a challenge for you to sing this. Or maybe not. Maybe it's not a challenge at all, which would be great. Let's do that together. 1, 2, 3, and take on me. Take me on. I'll be gone in a day or two. I love that high note. Beautiful. Okay, so I'm gonna assume that you've sang along with me, and you might have noticed two things. One, it went super well and it was no problem for you to hit that high note. Great. You're still going to get value from what we're going to be doing next. Or the other side of the coin would be that you might have had some challenges going through this little piece of the song. And the challenge might be twofold. So as I told you before, in our theory portion of this episode, we first want to know what the difference is between chest voice and head voice. Now, you've already identified that head voice, yoo-hoo, sounds and feels like that, and chest voice, sounds and feels like this. So now I want you to notice, where are you switching from chest to head voice in this song? So let's do that again. And check in with yourself. Where am I switching from chest to head voice? Okay, let's try. 1, 2, 3, and take on me. Take me on. I'll be gone in a day or two. Where was that transition for you? And did you feel tension? Now, what some beginner singers might do is this. Take on me, chest voice. Take me on, still chest voice. I'll be gone. That's where they're starting to push and strain their voices because they're staying in chest voice. So you might recognize yourself in this, and that's totally fine. This, for me, is the place where I transition to my mixed voice. This is the place where I start to utilize the power of my chest and the range and flexibility of my head voice. On the B, I'll be. That's where my switch is. Now, it might be too early for you, and that's okay. Oftentimes, you're feeling that tension because you're switching too late. So here's what we're going to do next. You have identified where you switched. My challenge to you would be to switch a little bit earlier. So that could be at the same place as I'm switching, or it could be a different place, whatever feels good for you. Okay, let's try that. And that should help you to smoothen out that break. Okay, let's do that together. So the challenge is to switch to head voice or mixed voice earlier than what you've done before. Let's see what that does. 1, 2, 3, and take on me. Take me on. I'll be gone in a day or two. Beautiful. Now tell me, how was that? Now you might have noticed some things. Maybe switching earlier for you did the trick. And that was enough to go from one register to another very smoothly. Maybe you've noticed that by switching earlier, your voice actually sounded weaker. That's totally normal too, because that gives us an indication that we need to work on the combination of those two vocal muscles, which is mixed voice. So as you can see, it's a matter of combining those two registers together in order to experience that vocal freedom. And mastering your mixed voice really is the only way to get there. Because if I only stay in chest and then go straight into head, I'll be gone. It might sound like that. I don't want to have that sound. Now, if I activate both of these muscles at the same time, then we have I'll be gone. And that's the result that we want to have. So I have a video explaining you exactly how to use and activate and train that mixed voice technique so that you can expand your range and sing those high notes easily and get through that break. So I've queued that video for you up right here. It's linked in the description down below as well of this episode. So go over there next. Make sure you're developing and mastering that mixed voice, because that's the only way to get to that vocal freedom. So thank you so much for having been here today, for spending this time here with me together. I wish you an amazing day, evening, whenever you're watching this episode. But go and check out this next episode that I have queued up for you in the description down below. And I will see you again next week. Bye.